What's up? Welcome into your daily Buckeye Blitz for Thirsty Thursday, as always, July 6th, 2023. I'm your host, Joe from the Buckeye Cast, bringing it to you. Don't forget, we have Miles Lockhart committing today to the Buckeyes. Not a surprise, but today is his official announcement. Keep your eyes peeled for a breaking news segment that I'll be releasing after his commitment. So, check it out. Anyway, what are we talking about? Today we're talking Ryan Day has made some statements recently on some shows that he says Ohio State this year is going to lean on the defense more. He's got extreme confidence in this defense. I'm loving the confidence coming out of Ryan Day and what he thinks this defense is going to do to help us, go undefeated all year, So I'm really curious to see what he means by that. And we're going to talk about some stats here. And unfortunately, we're going to have to relive a few painful memories from last year. But so let's talk about it. Ryan Day says the Buckeyes are going to lean on the defense. Actually, we had a decent defense last year. We had couple poor performances to close out the season, but let me throw some stats at you here real quick. In yards per play, which is an important stat because it gives you an average, what you're giving up yards per play, obviously, on defense. Ohio State was 29th, not terrible. We really improved in that area at 5 yards per play. Alabama being number 5, them and Michigan were 4.5. So shave a half yard off of that. That's a huge improvement, and it moves you up, into the top 5. Next up, points per game. Obviously, this is key. So the Buckeyes were 17th in the country last year. Not bad. 21 points per game. And that's solid. I mean, if you can shave a couple off, that will get you up into that, top 10. And so let's see if we can do that. But again, the point is this was not a bad defense last year. We hear a lot of horse shit in the media. Pardon my French, don't really. But a lot of horse shit in the media just because on the biggest stages, the defense let us down, against Michigan and Georgia. But the other stat, red zone scores per game. These are TDs and field goals. They only allowed 2.1 per game. That was 9th in the country. Okay, so if you get that down under 2 per game, just a couple hundreds or tenths of a point there, you're in the top 5. And that's very doable. Next up, opponent rushing yards per game. We were 23rd in the country, allowed 121.1. Again, you knock 20 yards off of that, and you're in the top 10 easily. So very doable. And then passing yards, opponent passing yards, we were 26th in the country and allowed 200.5 yards per game. So again, knock off 20 yards there, you're up in the top 10 area. So those are the stats that are important to me because it shows that this was not a bad defense on the whole. Like preparation age. So we got Jim Knowles back for a second year. Again, that's important. Getting the entire staff back for a second season. Ryan Day said recently on a podcast with Greg McElroy, he said, quote, so a lot of experience on the defensive side of the ball. And really in year 2, year 1, you're learning what to do. Year 2 and 3, you're learning how and why. And I think those matter. So we're going to have to win some games on defense this year. Again, confidence in the defense. One of the biggest issues with the defense were the big plays, right? Again, brace yourselves. You might want to skip ahead a little bit. I don't know. But anyway, against Michigan and Georgia, we gave up the big plays. Against Michigan, we gave up touchdowns of 45, 69, nice, 75, 75, and 85. Then in the playoffs against Georgia, we gave up 11 explosive plays and 7 of them through the air. And more chunk plays. But anyway, in the first 11 games last year, prior to the Michigan game, the defense allowed just 16.9 points per game. Going back to our averages here, 16.9 would have been top 5. I'm sorry, top 7 in the country. But again, those big plays. In the last 2 games, they gave up 87 points. That's 43.5 points a game. Ryan Day said also, quote, coming out of these last couple games, I know everybody on the defensive side of the ball, there was a lot of progress made there, but the way that it ended just left a sour taste in everyone's mouth. So that's something we've got to get looked at hard and try to identify the areas. Certainly explosive plays were the ones that kind of jumped off the screen. So Jim Knowles will be in his second year, and it's significant because we really didn't lose that much on that side of the ball. We have a lot coming back, a lot of experience, added some new pieces through the transfer portal. And we don't do a lot of that, but I think we added some nice pieces there, referring to Igbinosun, Carter, and Taiwan Malone, of course. So even with a question mark at starting quarterback for the Buckeyes, we're going to score points as usual. I don't see much of a dip in our offense production. So there will be a game or two, though, where the defense is going to be called upon to win the game. Ryan Day thinks the unit can be better this year because the starters and contributors will be in their second year under the Jim Knowles scheme. So he's confident his defense can play more like the unit that held team under 20 points a game in the first 11 weeks last year. So Day also said that you have to process the new scheme when you're into year 2. It's just like talking like you and I are talking. That was confusing. Sorry. Let me restart that quote. You have to process the new scheme. Pause. When you're in year 2, it's just like talking like you and I are talking. You understand exactly what it is. So there's a better understanding overall, and you have the whole offseason of understanding now. Now our guys know what, they just need to learn how, and then again, why. But I also think our guys, there's a certain level of experience that that they learn from just playing the game. And, like they always say, live reps, you can't replace those. It's hard to replicate those in practice. Iron does sharpen iron, only to a certain degree, in my opinion. But Ryan Day went on to say it all starts with the defensive line and our linebackers up front. Tommy Eichenberg, Steel Chambers, JT, Ty Hamilton, Tyleek, Mike Hall, Jack Sawyer, Kenyatta Jackson. All these guys are going to have to play really well at a high level if we're going to be where we need to be on defense. We think we've had a great offseason. We're really bullish on where they've been in terms of the last couple of months and where they're heading into August. We also have more depth at corner than we've had in years. That's a great point. We're getting past those hiccups in recruiting the corner position back in like 2018 and 2019. So Ryan Day's excited to see how the defense looks in week 1. So I am too. I can't wait to check it out and see what's different. Might be the same faces, maybe a couple new ones sprinkled in there, but let's see the quality of this defense, and let's see if there's any scheme change, or we're seeing more of the jack position, things like that. So that's all I got for you. Let me know if you guys are feeling the confidence on this defense, and what are your expectations? We're not far from a top 5 defense. We'll talk about that again soon, but I wanted to take a little break from the recruiting. We'll get back to the recruiting soon, I promise. But just wanted to talk about, the nuts and bolts of the team yesterday and today on the Blitz. So appreciate you guys. Talk to you tomorrow. Go Bucks.